Hello, big persons. This is a message just for you, so your little gems are probably not going to be interested in it. This is part of the It's Okay series. And this one is, it's okay to have those big feelings. But before we get into that, again, I just want to thank you very much for raising up these gems. Parenting and caregiving can be very challenging at the best of times, so I know it's particularly challenging now, so thank you so very much for raising up these babes for our villages. So it's okay to have these big feelings, and these big feelings that I'm kind of referring to is grief and loss. And I find this a very challenging video to do for you because grief and loss isn't something that I typically talk about, and it was not something that was really talked about in my bringing up. So I'm going to attempt to talk to you about it. And here's the thing: I didn't even really realize that I was grieving and feeling a real loss of some things. Things sort of showed up in irritability, quick to react to things, having more challenges falling asleep than usual, and I've since discovered that it's about grief and loss, and feeling that loss of spontaneity, you know, where you can just call up somebody and say, hey, do you want to meet in half an hour at such and such a place? And that's just not possible now, because you begin to have to think about your bubble and who's in your bubble and who's in the other person's bubble, and even if the place is open and different hours of things now. So I'm really feeling a loss for that and really grieving over that. Things that I hold really, really important, that I've discovered that I like hugs. With the program, when I come in, we would often greet each other with hugs, and that's very challenging. So I've really lost. I'm feeling a real loss for that, and usually when you think of loss and grief, you think of like a death or something, and I with COVID, I haven't had a loss of a person, thank goodness. But I have lost a best friend in the past, and this is a different feeling, but it is still grief and loss. And yeah, so that loss of touch, that loss of feeling connected, and that loss of that spontaneity. And I've also discovered that I have a trigger phrase, and it is the new normal. I swear, if I continue to hear that, I think that my head might just explode. So just knowing for me that that's a real trigger. Like when I hear that, I think of that old normal, or whatever normal is, but that old of having multiple people getting together, just hanging out, talking, and I am really feeling a loss for that. So when I hear that, it's a real trigger for me, and it's a real chance for me to just be able to just pause and just do, I know I say this all the time, but I really believe in that breathing. So for me, when I get that trigger, to just really just, hold it and just really breathe for a little bit, can help me to go forward and to look for the positive aspects that I so very much want to find and have found during this time. So in that returning to programs, that I just know if I run into somebody in the community and I see their face, that is like, oh, your heart starts to beat, and it's just so exciting to see that person, to see that family. So I'm really looking forward to that again, and to see more more people, even if we're not hugging and touching, to just see that and have that feeling. So all the things that I've been talking about in the last videos, I just want to remember in this sort of grief and loss, and just like it's okay if you're not okay with this, and acknowledging those feelings. It's okay to let different things go, and just to acknowledge those feelings. And with grief and loss, to just really acknowledge those feelings and going, hey, it's okay to feel that way. And what can we do now? But just taking that minute to sit with those feelings and going, that's okay. And I am needing to do that before I can go forward and continually think about the positive things and what I'm looking forward to. So, like I said, it's a challenging topic for me to talk about, because I'm one of those people where I figure I gotta keep it all together, you know, for others around me and to support other folks around me. But for me to be able to keep it together and support folks around, I need to take that time, acknowledge my loss and my grief, and sit with it, and then figure out, okay, now what do we do going forward? And find all those positive things that are happening out there. And there are a lot of really positive things. So I hope that has made some sense to you. Maybe rang some bells with you. So thank you very much for joining me, for just hanging out with me. And again, thank you. I hold you so very high for bringing up these wonderful little gems of yours. So thank you. I will see you next time. Okay, bye now.